Have you ever wondered what caused those strange noises and creaks you heard in your house one night? Ever wondered if the shadows that you thought you saw at the corner of your eye were really there? Ever wondered what you might find if you investigated those abandoned places that always gave you chills? Well, one thing is for certain. If you think it's a ghost, you're fucking stupid. Now let's get one thing clear. I love these shows. They are some of the dumbest things ever, and that makes them amazing in my eyes. They are the greatest things to exist in the history of things. But let's cut the crap. I like to think of myself as a connoisseur of these things, and I actually don't watch the ones like Ghost Adventures as much. You know, the ones that people talk about, which I love those videos where people are kind of exposing what they're doing and everything, but watching them is not really my cup of tea if we go to the actual shows themselves. So the ones I'm going to discuss today are the ones that have the people being interviewed in those rooms, like usually have some weird background, and then they're intercut with a bunch of reenactments that are really bad with special effects. I'm gonna give you a list of the ones that I am familiar with personally, and we're going to go through probably an episode from each one to show you how bad it is. So, and if you think that there are any that I might enjoy that I missed here, then please let me know. I am dying for new shows. I need these things in my bloodstream to live. So here we go. My ghost story, ghostly encounters, the haunted, rescue mediums, and paranormal survivors. Before you can ask, yes, I have seen at least 3 full seasons of each of them, and yes, I'm really embarrassed to admit that. Alright, let's go. First one, My Ghost Spaghetti. My ghost story is one of those that focuses more on the interview instead of the straight up interaction with the actors, sort of reenacting everything, and it sort of uses, I guess they want you to think it's more like real footage of the place and stuff like that. It's all got this sort of found footage aspect to it, but it's not quite like the ones like Ghost Adventures like I talked about before, because everything is a bit more polished, heavily relying on sound effects, especially the stock sound effects, the ones that you've heard a million times, that I don't even have to play for you because you've already pictured what they are in your mind. The episode, though, that we're talking about today, this one is my favorite. For one fucking reason. This fucking Italian sleazebag douche. I love him. He is the most gross thing I've ever seen. As you probably guessed, you do get people who come to talk about their businesses being haunted, and you know that they're trying to get people to come over there and like publicity. They probably end up paying the people who do the show something. You know the whole deal, and then there are always people who are dumb enough to think it's really haunted and go over there. Win-win for everyone. This cunt comes on, and he's like, oh, this place is haunted. They just show a bar, and you're like, okay, this is a bar, this is fine. But then as it goes, you start seeing some really strange things about the bar where you don't think it's quite a normal bar. And then the guy starts talking about the girls being frightened.
A mixture of reactions from the girls. Ladies' room, particularly, where they would change. They would feel as though somebody's watching them. They had felt cold in there, and they had felt touched in that room. They were afraid, but they stayed because this was their job.
And they show some of the girls backstage wearing like lingerie and shit, and you're like, oh. And then all of a sudden they're calling it a strip bar even though they didn't before. And it's like, why didn't you do that in the first place? This guy is just like, oh, the bar with the strippers is haunted, and the girls are fucking terrified. Oh, it's a great place. It's a great place to come JO, trust me. That's not the best part though. So they bring in this medium, and she says the best thing. She has the best superpower I have ever seen in my entire life.
So I go over to see what is around him.
I think I have to come near you.
When I'm near spirit, I have a physical reaction. My stomach will expand about 5 inches. That's how I find spirit energy in a building.
Her stomach inflates when ghosts are in the room. I bet it inflates when you're at the buffet as well, but in that case it doesn't go back down as easily. This is just the best part, like they're all in a circle and then everyone starts going insane and one girl is like jerking around and the psychic is like, I believe she is possessed. In reality she probably needs like an EpiPen or something and they're just not giving it to her because ghosts, and she's probably gonna die and it's terrible.
One girl actually, I felt, became possessed. Got a little worried because I could see she was acting like she was drunk.
She started to shake and she broke down. And I don't know why, but I started feeling queasy. I started feeling, you know, something.
But yeah, the rest of it, especially on the heels of that other shit, doesn't really matter. I just kind of wanted to show like the caliber of shit on my ghost story and why I just love it so much. Go to that guy's bar when you want to see scantily clad women and inflating psychics. Go to this guy's bar, you'll have a great time. Your boner will just like explode. Alright, The Haunted. This one is a lot more in the form of interviews spliced reenactments, and they aren't very good. So I got The Haunted confused so many times with The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix because they came out around the same time when they got added, so it was almost like, and they have like sort of the same cover, so it's almost like they wanted you to like accidentally go onto one thinking it was the same thing. But let me quickly recap in case you don't know. Haunting of Hill House, good. The Haunted, good in a way that it shouldn't be. This one in particular really illustrates my point because it has this kid that's like 9 and she is clearly being told what to say. Like you can very clearly visualize the shit that she's reading off screen because you can see her eyes following it, and she's also kind of scared because she's like 9 and could believe in ghosts obviously, and the entire family is obviously being cunts by encouraging this because they don't care about the ramifications of these lies, they just want to be on TV. Or worse, they believe in it and they're kind of promoting this like really unhealthy viewpoint where every single thing is just a ghost.
We've had her since she was 4.5 months old, and we adopted her just a week before she turned 2. In 2003, we moved back to Texas. I just wanted to be close to my family.
Oh no, things are ominous. They take so long to get to the actual ghost shit though. So, let's examine what's being said.
Burners on my stove were going up and down, lights going on and off, objects being moved, cold spots. I've seen shadows.
The stove turning on, they'll obviously be like, oh, we had the stove checked. But you know they just got someone to stare at it and go, no, it's fine, without properly checking, and the person who did that probably works for the show. Things moving around happen to everybody. I can't tell you how many times I swore I left something somewhere, but it was somewhere else the entire time. It's not a ghost unless it's the ghost of inconvenience and incompetence on my part. Also, cold spots. All I can say is that's the kind of thing that houses do. You'll be like, the window's closed, but it doesn't mean all the air in the existence comes to a halt because the window's closed. How do you think it works? I've had experiences where I had the windows closed and it was hot near the window, but it's really cold in the middle of the room, and then it was hot like near the other end of the room. That doesn't mean that it's a ghost, that just means the way that the airflow works in the room. I can't believe I have to explain this. This shit just happens in real life. You are imagining things. So the reason they think that the house is haunted is because people refuse to come into the house because they think that they see the Shining twins and they think that the house is haunted. Also, this poor little child is being told about this morbid shit just because that's the most logical thing to do. Ugh, let's move on. This episode of Ghostly Encounters is one of the classic movies, theater is haunted sort of things, which the movies, the theater, whatever you want to call it, is haunted, which I kind of like. Maybe it's because I just like theaters. I'm one of those like hipster chicks that is totally not basic in any way whatsoever. But I like them a lot. I like the idea of, even if it's to me it's in a fictional way, I like the idea of the ghost of an actor or something like coming around and fucking with shit while the people are just trying to put on a play and stuff. I think there was a Goosebumps thing that I read about that once, and I really liked that when I was like 5 or whatever. So there's just that. Also, I forgot, this one has this stupid stopwatch, pocket watch thing where this guy randomly starts walking around the same building every time, just rambling about what the episode is about. I don't know who this guy is, but I love him. Also, all of the fucking reenact shots are black and white because of course they are. They're more hipster than me.
When I first started out, my father worked at a theater in town, and I started there. Well, I was going with him when I was really young, like 12, 11, and he was the projectionist there.
So they hear this noise in the theater, and obviously it's getting louder and louder and stops, and there is no one there. But never mind that, check out the sweet stock sound effect they used.
The workplace defines who we are. But if our workplaces define us during our life, what role do they play once we're dead?
And I think it was me and an assistant that was on, and we started to hear what we thought was like a little bit of a woman's murmur or somewhat of a very faint voice. After walking, it's getting a little bit louder. It seemed to be something like singing. Yeah.
It sounded nothing like the lady describes. Then we have this guy who has a garden variety haunted house. He has a ghost that doesn't like him brushing his teeth. There's a super intense teeth brushing scene. Look at that shit. Someone put Fast and the Furious music over that. Is it just me, or does this guy seem high as fuck to you?
I was brushing my teeth, looking in the mirror, and it was just a normal night. I was just getting ready for bed.
Bruh, there's like this spooky ass ghost now, bruh. Like, bruh, dude, I dropped my headphones and shit. Bruh, I said full apparition and shit, wow.
Okay, I gotta prepare myself. For this one. Rescue mediums. I love this one. The entire show, I kid you not, is nothing but these two clueless, adorable old ladies who do not give a single fuck about anything, just wandering around, cooing at ghosts. Like, they're making shit up and then they go all, like, tea time. This is the greatest show in the entire universe. What is this? This intro is so dramatic, but all these people are just, like, super old and just don't care. They're, like, really soft-spoken people who just... Do they even know why they're there? Do they remember where they are? And then there's just some idiot who tried to figure out how to invert a camera filter and they just use it every 5 seconds. Oh my god, I love them!
Oh look, there's a demon there, isn't it? Oh yeah, it's killing us. Oh look, sweet, release of death, innit? Yeah.
I thought you'd never ask, you cunt. The entire premise is that they make these premonitions before they do the investigation, and those are usually like muted, like desaturated black and white shot. And the premonitions either have nothing to do with the episode, or they ask a couple questions from like half the shit that they talked about in the premonition, and then the people are like, I guess so, I guess you're right, by a technicality, and they're like, oh, we're psychic.
Oh, you know what, it's that antenna, it needs polishing.
Even the name of the location has been kept secret until now. Although days earlier, they had some eerie premonitions.
Scattered bones. I know. Voices that have been heard, but there's no one there. Bones.
I could connect it with something.
Okay. Voices being heard, like mumbles, but there's nobody there.
No.
Okay. Cold spots in the property.
So they went to the clients, and the clients were like, oh my god, it's real, but the rest of it's garbage. They're not even reacting to apparent psychic powers. They just straight up get shit wrong here, and the old people are like, oh, it's bullshit. Afterwards, they just wander around the house, that's it. Or in the woods. Or in the paddock. Or whatever. Wherever they are, and then the announcer is just trying his best. His best! To be dramatic, and they just don't care. This is the best show. I hate it. I hate it. Someone come watch this with me. They uploaded their episodes to YouTube. Like, what is going on? Someone. I need help. Paranormal Survivor is frankly the most boring of the bunch, which is why I put it last. It's just, I mean, it's obviously entertaining enough for me to watch it, but that bar is pretty low, and it's not special at all. It has no gimmicks, and yeah, I'll go through this episode and you'll see why, but it's just, it's whatever. I mean, I would say watch everything else, and then sometimes when I'm in bed, I just watch videos in like really quiet volume so that I can like fall asleep to them. And when I'm watching ghost shows and I want to keep doing it while I'm gonna fall asleep, I usually just put that show on then after watching all of the funny ones. This is kind of an idea of how I guess I would say to do it if you're getting into watching these because of how funny they are to you. Ah, god, this intro!
Prepared to be afraid.
Oh yeah, that's the gimmick. The jump scare noises never stop. Never. Again, with the losing shit. Oh look, it's reenactments, my favorite. Haunting of Hill House over here.
My dad would say, well, who did it then? And we started saying, well, Emily did it. And I don't know where that name came from. It was just, well, Emily did it.
Well, of course they'd say that. One of the things that kids do the most is make up shit with random names. Please do not tell me that they think imaginary friends are ghosts, though that's probably as bad as it usually is.
Than just a name.
One time, my friend and I saw a little girl in the upstairs window.
Jesus, the real spooky thing here is how many jump cuts were in that scene.
I don't think that she was threatening. I think if anything, she was sad and playful, that she wanted to play more.
Everything that happened was non-menacing. Then why are you playing spooky music?
Animals start to die, farm animals, pets, any animals on the property, usually that can be a sign of demonic entity.
They brought in an expert. That's problem solved, guys. I actually kind of, if it's this easy to become an expert just by bullshitting shit that isn't real, I would totally become an expert. Just, you know, if it's like easy money like this, come on. Oh, crazy eyes, perfect. That's the thing I want in a professional.
When animals start to die, farm animals, pets, any animals on the property, usually that can be a sign of demonic entity.
It's a sign of demonic energy, not just that the animal is dying. Because that's not bad enough. It's not bad enough that an animal is just ill and dying. So, why do I watch these? These fucking suck, but I can't stop. What did you think of this shit? So, Tales of Aria and I are going to be doing a commentary on these episodes that I mentioned specifically, and we're going to do the usual thing where we upload half on hers and half on my channel. You might have remembered that I did a ProcrastiTara episode with my co-host Marzi on the subject ages ago, and I decided to kind of revisit it because we sort of talked about it then, but it was more kind of me explaining or trying to explain, failing to explain why I like this sort of show, and Marzi kind of rightfully reacting like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I kind of tried to explain it again here, and then we have the commentary coming up, but I still don't get it. But of course, there is the old age truth. Whenever there is something unexplainable, whenever you get scared, it is always without explanation, ghosts. Or Danny DeVito.